works the first time.
My password's a bunch of dots too.
It's amazing. Good evening, everyone. My name is Matt Duvall. This is my first Charm City meetup. Really excited to be here. So thank you all for taking the time to come on out. Just a couple of quick things about me. I'm a Marylander, born and raised in Annapolis. Got a bachelor's in accounting at Radford University. So show of hands, who does not have a computer science or information technology degree? Oh, okay, awesome. So what'd you get? What degree do you have? Business? Okay. Anyone else? I thought I'd be the only bean counter in here, so I mean that's cool to hear. Right? Awesome. I got some other fellow bean counters. So accounting was cool, but it got a little monotonous. And you know, in 1996, when Al Gore invented the internet, I was like, that's a lot more fun. I went and got a master's in information technology from Stevenson's.
Why are you laughing? He did invent it.
He did. I know it's a bunch of twos. We know that it's a bunch of twos. But I got a master's in information technology. Java was the thing back then. Object-oriented programming, and it's interesting to see how things have changed because JavaScript, those were like the kids down there, and we were Java, and we're like, hey, JavaScript, that's great. And then, you know, the C++ guys are looking down at us going, you all are too afraid to play with memory pointers, you know, so Java was the thing. But as most senior engineers, and this is senior not in knowledge, but age, as you can see, you know, they say, hey, you're a people person, why don't you manage this group over here? It'd be great. And I'm like, wow, okay, I'll do this PMP thing. It was never more miserable in my life. That's just me. Some people are like that. And I finally said, you know what, I want to jump back out. But I spent 3 years in that project management thing. And things change a lot in web development in 3 years. I mean, it's like dog years in web development years, right? It's 21 years. I mean, it's crazy how stuff changes. And I sat down and somebody told me about this thing called Angular. And when you see Angular for the first time and you're like, wait, there's no page refresh? How did that happen, right? And it just blows your mind. So 2012, I really jumped into the mean stack, even though mean stack was kind of predated to that, as you'll see in my history coming up here. So what is mean stack? Let's go through the 4 components, because it's really 4 pieces of technology put together. MongoDB, if anyone is familiar with non-SQL document-oriented databases, MongoDB is awesome. It was actually started in 2010 by a company called 10gen. They were out to create the first platform as a service. But their platform as a service failed, but what was interesting, the database they created to go behind it lived on as Mongo. So they actually changed their name to now Mongo, they're no longer 10gen. Meanwhile, all right, Express. So Express.js was written around 2010, and it's a lightweight, fast web server. Has anyone had the pleasure of writing Tomcat configuration XML files? Raise your hand. Yes. Who wants to shoot yourself from doing that? Yes. Express, 4 lines of code. You got a web server up and running. It's completely awesome. AngularJS, the kind of the gold behind the mean stack here, created by Misko Harvey in 2009. We're at about 1.5 for Angular 1, and I'm not going to talk about Angular 2 today. There's a lot of concern. Angular 2 is a completely different framework from Angular 1. Both awesome in its own right, but the cool thing about Angular, it allows you to create these single-page applications. Single-page applications, what are we talking about? It's like Gmail, your page never refreshes, that type of thing. And then after that, we have Node.js, which was actually announced in 2009. This gentleman, Ryan Dahl, went to the European JS Conf, and he took the Google V8 engine, which was in Chrome, and went ahead and wrapped a low-level event loop around it and said, hey, this is something kind of neat called Node, and then Node Package Manager and everything, and now you see the world we live in today with thousands upon thousands of libraries and Node PM, or NPM. So how does the mean stack work? Well, the term mean stack was actually coined by Valery Karpov. He was a MongoDB engineer around 2013. And I have links there to the actual blog post that was there, so you can actually check it out. But in short, you have MongoDB as your lower level database. Controls to a Node.js, which is your actual web server. For like Java guys, you have your JVM. Node.js is what runs the JavaScript on the server. And then you have Express that runs on top of that, and Angular is sent back to the client. I'm not going to get too deep into that, but this is a very high-level view of what the mean stack architecture looks like. All right, so back in the day, segregated software development, this is where we were. So you have the database engineers. Now, I do some government contracting, and so government contracting, we have big teams. And so we have database engineers, and they're always the friendliest people, because as soon as I run in, they're like, you can have a database, and you can have a database, right? No, they're not. That's not how database engineers are, right? Then my second favorite people, system admins, right? These guys, they're just, hey, I need a machine with 16 gigs of RAM. No, you shall have 2. And then, oh, my cat. Yes, sysadmin cat. Access, right? These things happen. Then you have the app dev, the middleware guy like me, and I'm just this little guy, this Java guy writing data access objects all the time, and I'm saying there, middleware is king, middleware is everywhere, middleware is cool. And then you've got my favorite, the graphic designers that, they run a Microsoft Publisher and think the world is gold. I wrote a quote down there. If anyone knows John Papa, he wrote the Angular 1 style guide, and then, of course, well, not wrote it, but he coordinated it with the community. I took an Angular 2 training class and met John Papa, and he is the CTO of Disney, so he's got a pretty cool job. And he was talking about dealing with graphic designers, and I thought this was the most funniest story. He was arguing with the graphics designers because they said that they wanted people, when they came to Disney and opened up their mobile app, when they looked at their calendar for the day, they wanted Tinkerbell to go across the screen with pixie dust. And he was explaining how hard it was to put pixie dust in HTML5. So, these things happen. But anyway, that's where we were. Where are we today? Today we call ourselves full stack developers, right? We're jack of all trades. We got to know everything from the database to the client, CSS. But what's beautiful about the mean stack is it's one language from database to client. It's JavaScript. So how are you running now? There are mean stack implementations out there. Mean.js is really a very good open source one. It's available on GitHub. And it utilizes predefined client server, roles, layouts. It uses the Yeoman generator. So if you want to get up and running quickly with Mean.js, I would say, with a mean stack, I would say go to Mean.js. There's another one called Mean.io. It's very similar, but this is supported by a corporate company. They have their own CLI tools and things like that. They do have own packages and plugins, so it's a little bit more, but I'm not sure what their licensing terms are, so you got to be careful if you go to Mean.io. We use Mean.js on a lot of ours. And then you can go to a place called Wrap Bootstrap, and they have a lot of really cool templates that you can download. One of our favorites is called Inspinia, and basically they just wrap Bootstrap around a giant mean stack template and gives you all kinds of really good graphs and charts and panels and buttons and all that beautiful graphic design goodness that I can't do, because heaven forbid you don't want to see the color palette I put on an application. Java middleware guy, that happens. So where can I deploy the mean stack today? So this is the fun thing, and this is what amazes me today about where we are, right? There are so many places that you can put your code to run, it's crazy. So we have Amazon Web Services Marketplace. They actually have a mean template that you can spin up right away, $36 a month running on EC2. Who's familiar with OpenShift? Does anyone use OpenShift in here? OpenShift here is one guy? Okay. So OpenShift is this concept of gears. They're small slices of CPU, RAM, and disk that you can run web applications with. They give you 3 free gears right out of the bat. You can go to OpenShift.com, spin up your gear, you add Node.js and MongoDB, and you're off and running. The thing about the free tier is, though, here's the catch, it goes idle. So it's not something that you can really use for putting out like a production website. But if you're sharing things with friends, we run Redmine on it. You can put a Redmine instance, and then we run some ticketing stuff through there. OpenShift is really cool. They're actually, the next version is starting to get into a lot of Docker container things as well. The next one, this one we use is Pivotal Web Services, and they're based off Cloud Foundry. And Cloud Foundry is an open source app framework. It gives you some command line tools, makes it easy for you to deploy your deploy your mean stack app using some very simple commands. Typical web services for a very small container, 128 megs, it's $10 a month, and they give you $100 free, so to go down and play with. The problem with Pivotal though is that they do not give you a database. You have to go get a Mongo database. There's a couple providers. NLab is one there, and then Mongo itself just released their own database hosting called Atlas, so you can go to Mongo too. So what's the future of MeanStack? As with JavaScript, the joke is if you go to sleep and come up the next day, you have a new JavaScript framework to figure out. JavaScript's always changing, which is awesome. I wouldn't want it any other way. For Mongo itself, they're still continuing to add new features. For example, in 3.0, they added a new lookup command, which actually allows you to link collections together. Very helpful. Node.js, they're currently on version 7.2, and they're continuing to implement more of the ES6 spec. So there's more and more ES6 specs coming through Node. Express.js, same thing. They're really working hard now more on performance. There was a thing back Express really wasn't as performant as like Nginx or something like that, but just like Emacs or VI, the guy that said that before, that's a flame war. I'm not going to start. It's very well as far as performance. And now you get to Angular, and Angular is near and dear to my heart as an A1 guy. It's going to be really hard to rip Angular 1 from my hands, but I've been playing with Angular 2. It's really cool. It's all based on web components because they're here to stay. It's the new spec that's coming out from the W3C. And then there's actually new templates that are coming out that implement the MeanStack with Angular 2 in it, so ng2 mean. So there's some really cool things that are coming up in the future of the MeanStack. So MeanStack is cool, and I'm a big proponent of what it can do, but there's a lot of new stuff that's coming out that are alternatives to Mean. Has anyone seen or heard Firebase? Yes, all right, cool. Blows my mind. 2 years ago, Firebase, I saw them before Google bought them, this real-time database concept, and it was that same feeling when you see Angular for the first time. I was like, wow, those guys, that is really cool to be able to just link a bunch of web pages together, and you change one here, and it automatically changes here. And I don't have to do WebSockets. That's nasty. I don't want to do WebSockets. And then Google bought them and said, oh, we're going to layer all of Google on top of it. And it's really amazing. I linked their YouTube intro series here. Go check it out. They have 16 services that they provide, everything from authentication to S3, sorry, that's Amazon, but Object Store, hosting, a whole bunch of great stuff. So Firebase, very, very cool. If you don't want to be in the Google world, it didn't take long for the open source community to pick it up and say, hey, Fireloop. It's not the whole platform, it's the real-time database. So Fireloop is something really cool, and they've already got Angular 2 hooks and things like that as well. And this one is really interesting. This is a company called Serverless. Has anyone heard of Serverless? They're brand new, somewhat, yes, in the back there. So Serverless is really just a platform. It's a set of tools to help you implement your services in AWS. So who's gone to AWS and clicks dashboard and you're greeted with 40 things that does what? I don't know, right? Well, what Serverless, I just want to put a web page up. So what Serverless does is they give you this medium to allow you to implement just the things you need for your website directly into the Amazon services without having to go to the AWS dashboard. One of the cool things they do is they work with Lambda. I don't know if anyone's familiar with Lambda, but what it is it's functional execution. So you've got your CRUD application and you want to say update employee. That function, update employee, you just store the function in Lambda and then you pay for the time that you execute that. And so right now it's at, forgive my math, 200s of a cent, 2 millions. I'm not an accountant, trust me. No, but you can see it's really cool. So it's a really new way to charge for usage in space. So serverless, something definitely to watch out for. And last but not least, any questions? But I didn't know the format, so the questions are probably later. So I hope to catch up with you guys later this evening. I did put a whole summary of the resources here, and I tweeted this whole presentation out as a Google slide, so everybody can get back to any of the links. So thank you all very much for your time.